Last night, Seattle's famous Space Needle was lit up, not in the colors of the Emerald City, though, rather in the Rams forest green color. CSU's social media accounts posted this video of the moment the landmark changed colors. According to the Space Needle's Facebook page, fans were able to vote to have their team's colors shine on the Space Needle. And as you can see here, CSU won the vote with 5,138 votes. And let's take a look at the bracket for the West region and where things stand right now. Number 1 seed Florida pulling off the win in a highly contested game against the defending champions, 8th seed UConn. If the Rams can pull off the win this evening, they would face the Gators in the Sweet 16. Meantime, 10th seed Arkansas shocking 2nd seed St. John to punch their ticket to the next round. They have Texas Tech. And by the way, speaking of brackets, how's your bracket doing? Here's a little backstory on the bracket culture out there. People have been betting on games forever, and there are a few origin stories, but this was one of them. Back in 1976, at Jody's Club Forest in Staten Island, owner Terrence Haggerty's father started a pool there, charging just $10 a bracket, and then grew into a local thing, a phenomenon with hundreds of thousands in winnings. They would collect all of this money and stash it in a safe. By 2006, winnings hit $1.6 million, and that, of course, attracted the IRS, which had an office nearby.
The gentleman who won in '06 claimed that he won on his taxes, so that was it.
Jig was up at that point.
Jig was up.
Oops. Another version in Louisville where a man also took inspiration from a softball league to create individual brackets in the 1970s, sparking the style we fill out today. Either way, from Staten Island to Louisville, the tradition lives on. U.S. postal workers rallied across the country today. They're fighting against President Donald Trump's attempt to move the Postal Service into the Commerce Department. 9 News reporter Janelle Finch was at the Capitol today. Janelle, workers claim here this would essentially dismantle the Postal Service.
Yeah, that's right. Postal Service workers say if President Trump privatizes the U.S. Postal Service, hundreds of thousands of jobs would be lost, along with some people's ability to send and receive mail. Postal workers deliver hundreds of thousands of pieces of mail every day, but the message they delivered on Colorado's Capitol steps may be their most important correspondence yet.
We're here to fight like hell and tell them no. Hell no!
The Trump administration is considering a move to make the Postal Service a part of the Department of Commerce. The National Association of Letter Carriers Union says that would be unconstitutional and cruel.
The nation depends on the post office the way it is. It belongs to the public, doesn't belong to anybody else.
Steve Brown says he spent 44 years working for the Postal Service. The job started as a means to live.
Partly I needed the money, but
until his work became more.
It was an honorable job. You know, I worked for some other jobs that were okay, but not like this.
He says Postal Service jobs and the people they serve are worth fighting for.
Hell no to privatization!
If it becomes privatized, then the small towns will really suffer because there's no money to be made in delivering to the small towns. And so it'll just be tough luck.
The union says more than 600,000 jobs could be cut. A job
I've been working with mail about 18 years.
John Martinez depends on. He says President Trump doesn't have the power to impact postal policy.
You know, the Postal Service has been around a long time, and there's no reason for Mr. Trump just at the shake of a pen could just change things up like that. I believe there's process, and I believe that process needs to be followed.
He hopes his message, along with the unions, aren't returned to sender.
We're out here to support for all of our workers and all the nation, showing everybody that we're out here fighting for our job.
Postal workers, stand and fight for your future and what is right.
According to the Constitution, postal power belongs to Congress, so it's unlikely President Trump would be able to privatize the Postal Service without congressional approval. Janelle Finch, 9 News.
All right, Janelle, we'll see what happens with that. Thank you for that report. Let's turn our attention outside and onto the weather. Another beautiful sunny day across Denver today. Very noticeable that the wind wasn't as bad as it has been, but now this coming week, get on the sunscreen, get your sunglasses out, get that big hat out. A big warm-up is in the way. Let's get right over to 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen with more on this record heat expected. Corey.
Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, this ridge of high pressure that's building, pretty unusual for the month of March. So I think we'll get at least one record broken out of it. You can kind of see it on satellite right now here with the clockwise rotation out here over California. We're still on the edge of the jet stream here, so that's going to keep us a little cloudy, a little bit windy tomorrow. Maybe a few isolated flurries up on the high country, but once we move under that full ridge of high pressure, we'll start to feel that heat, and that'll happen sometime Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon as there's one little front in the way. But what a difference the winds make here. This is a breezy day. I would describe it as those winds in the 15 to 25 mile per hour range. A lot lighter than what we saw yesterday. Same thing up here on the northern front range. So the temperatures were just about the same here. Here are the high temperatures reported into us today, 62 in Denver, about the same as yesterday, but it felt a lot better today without those really strong winds. Here's what tomorrow looks like. We're going to see a little bit of sunshine and clouds once again here. Same pattern over the last 3 days. But look at that. We should make it into the 70s tomorrow, and then we'll watch for those records starting on Wednesday. I'll have more on that coming up in the full forecast.